ReefBum is sponsored by Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So in this video I wanted to provide an update on the 187 gallon tank Reboot. But before I do that, just wanted to remind you about my SPS Frag store on ReefBum.com. So if you want to help support the channel, please check that out. And I also sell the equipment that I use. So with that said, let's get into the video.
Okay, it's been about 7 weeks since I've been soaking this Carob Sea Life Rock in this 100 gallon Rubbermaid, and seems like things are going really well. A few weeks ago I added some egg crate that was actually soaking in this 50 gallon frag tank here. So I had 2 racks of the egg crate. It was 24 inches by 24 inches in terms of squares, and it was in that frag tank for, I don't know, a couple of months, and it developed a lot of feather dusters on it. You're not going to be able to see the feather dusters here. So I wasn't using this egg crate in the frag tank because I bought some new frag racks like I talked about in prior videos. So I figured, why not take this egg crate, which has got the feather dusters probably as well as a lot of bacteria on it, and just put it in the 100 gallon Rubbermaid, and the feather dusters have stayed alive, which is great. So I'm really happy about that. And the other thing I've been doing is dosing the Brightwell's Microbacter 7. I do it daily, about 5 or 6 mLs a day. And I'm also doing 10% weekly water changes with established tank water on the water in this Rubbermaid. So I do think that is helping build up the bacteria population on this Carob Sea Life Rock. So another thing I've started to do is to prep the Cryptic Sump. And as you recall, this is a 60 gallon polyurethane tank. It measures 24 inches wide by 24 inches tall by 24 inches long. So I've drilled a couple of holes already for the plumbing, and I've drilled a hole in here for a 1-inch bulkhead, and then also for a 3/4 inch return line. And what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using flexible tubing for the return line, and I'm going to hard plumb the drain. And one thing, I've never done this before, so one thing I'd be interested to hear anybody's opinions on: should I put a overflow box inside this thing? I mean, it is going to just be live rock in here. There's going to be a lid on top. Do I have to worry about anything potentially accumulating in this 1-inch 90-degree elbow, or should I go ahead and purchase a small overflow box and silicone it in? But yeah, be curious to hear anybody's opinion on that. I think I'm also going to do is I'm going to pick up a lock line, just to be able to have that flexibility if I want to have the return line come a little bit higher than what it is right now. That's about as high as I was able to go in terms of drilling. So what I'll do now is, once I'm ready to, I'll silicone these in and tighten them up and get it ready to plumb it into the system. So in the sump room, I've created a stand for this Cryptic Sump. It comes off about 6 inches off the floor. I needed to elevate it to get over this plumbing right here, and it's going to be a little tighter squeeze in here than what I've liked. I needed to try to leave some room to get by if I needed to do any maintenance on the inside here. I've never done any maintenance on the inside here, so if I have to do any maintenance, it would be for an emergency. But I don't want to get into a situation if there is an emergency and I have to get through there. I don't want to like have it blocked. Okay, so here's the Cryptic Sump on top of the stand, and I think I barely have enough room to squeeze by in case of an emergency. But let me just show you around the other side here. Not a lot of options in terms of where I was gonna be able to drill holes for the drain and the return. I mean, basically I had to get above this pipe, above this controller, and go along this way. I'm gonna have to move this auto top off the vise, and then put another couple of 90-degree elbows in And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to splice it into this 1-inch drain on one of the frag tanks. So I'm going to put a T in here, and I think I should have, I think I should be able to do that. This is a 1 to 1/2 inch drain from the frag tank, and I've actually got it going into 3/4 inch fitting as well as a 1-inch fitting, so it's 1 3/4 inches actually. I'm gonna have to guess that most of the water is probably going down that drain, maybe not. So I'm gonna tee it into this thing. I think it would have been a safer bet to tee it into the other drain for the frag tank, which is 1 1/2 inches, but I'm not able to do that because of the fittings right here. These are this is a reducer, so that was not going to be possible. So I'm going to tee it off into this. If it doesn't work, worst case scenario, I'll cap it off and figure out something else. The other thing I'm going to do is put a union on here to make it easy to disconnect. I don't think I need a union on this return line because it's going to be flexible tubing, and I think that'll be, you know, if I have to, I could just take it off. Not a big deal. All right, what about a feed pump for the Cryptic Sump? Well, my plan is to use a Mag 5 pump. I've used that in the past for my algae reactor. It works pretty well. And I've got these fittings on the Dreambox. You can see these red fittings go through the PVC on the Dreambox. Right now I've got some dosing tubes going through there, so I'm going to have to reposition those. But I've got a similar setup already for the pump that feeds the UV sterilizer. I've got the 3/4 inch flexible tubing that goes into the fitting on the bottom here and then out on the top, and it goes along into the UV sterilizer. So I'm going to do the same exact thing with the Mag 5, feeding the return on the Cryptic Sump. And yeah, it's just a lot easier for me to use the flexible tubing versus hard plumbing that part of it all. So pretty much it'll be, the Cryptic Sump will be in line with my sump. I got a lot of stuff going on here. It's gotten a little complicated, but I think I can make it all work. Yeah, you know, so the drain will be going to the top, and the water from the Cryptic Sump will be going through the filter socks, and the feed pump will be past the skimmer, close to the return pumps. I couldn't go into the current hard plumbing for my 2 return pumps. It just would have been way too complicated. So that's why I'm going to use the flexible tubing, and I'll just put the flexible tubing, I'll tighten it up with a hose clamp, and I should be good to go. So that's a quick update on the 187-gallon Reboot. Man, it's coming quick. Middle of April, I'm going to start doing the transfer in terms of all that rock and corals. That should be a lot of fun. I'll be a very busy person. As I mentioned before, if anybody has any input in terms of whether or not I need to bother with an overflow box in the inside of this Cryptic Sump, I would love to hear that. I will keep you folks updated on the project. Until then, be safe, be well, later.